Welcome everybody to another episode of Growing Up Kayfabe. We are the YEET and NO YEET of Wrestling Podcast, the Yes and No of Wrestling Podcasts. I want to welcome you guys and remind you before that you start this episode, and if you go to the show notes down below, you can go to the timestamps and you can skip ahead to the parts in the show that you want to hear about the most. You can also, while you're down there, hit the like button, subscribe, throw a comment, and talk some wrestling with us. You can also share it out to a wrestling fan or family member in your life, and it'd be very much appreciated. And before we get started, I want to remind you guys that this podcast is scheduled for one fall, and we're going to go over this past week of wrestling, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, going over the topics that I find most interesting that I want to talk about, starting with Monday as always. And we're going to start off with the show opener, which is CM Punk. Perfect, great, championship looks amazing on Punk, exactly what we need. Aura, completion, whatever happens from here, Punk's gonna elevate that title no matter what. So, if you need somebody to elevate the title, if Seth Rollins is supposed to be that guy, Punk's the same guy to elevate. It's the same picture. Both gonna elevate the title equally. Very excited to see what Punk's gonna do coming up. Few things about it actually. One, what a hilarious little in your face to Rollins. Punk does the Rollins celebration where he flings the belt around above his head. What was funny about that to me was I was genuinely as he's doing it, I'm like, you better slow down with that shit. He's gonna pop a shoulder, he's gonna throw out a bicep, he's gonna do something. I was genuinely worried that during that little celebration, Punk would have hurt himself. Luckily, that didn't happen, and so he just got to rub it in Rollins' face. That's great. So then after that, it seems to be this new thing with oh man, who's going to be the challenger? Who's going to be the first match for this run of championship? And then Logan Paul's music hits. Usually after he's done with some type of legal case, which is exactly what happened here. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. Logan Paul's legal case cleared up. All of a sudden, here he is again. So it is what it is. And the thing is about Logan coming out to confront Punk to be the one who wants next in line. First of all, Punk being like, anybody but him. No, trying to cut the music short. No, please. I don't like it. It's so on brand for Punk's new character. It's hilarious, in my opinion. Where Punk gets to kind of be himself a little bit within the character itself. So Logan's doing Logan stuff. First of all, shouts out to what Logan was wearing, the little homage to the yellow polka dots with that vest. I kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie. So all of it to skip ahead that the Vision comes out. They have this whole back and forth, and then Logan tries to leave. Braun pushes him, actually hurts him, bumps his head up against the back of that little Tron apron thing that they have there, and then they go to beat down Punk. And what was seemingly, shouts out to my podcast Tribal Chief Sam Roberts. What I agree with was that what seemed to have happened was that Logan just turned heel instant, or a babyface instantly. Logan had a moment of second guessing and then went in to help Punk and ended up getting beat down and tsunamied. But in that moment you're okay, genuinely that's how easy it is to do it in this company. Sometimes it just takes that wow moment of there's no way this is actually happening for a babyface or a heel turn. And it was almost instant. It was okay, well, that was it. Logan was off screen after that. He's okay, I guess Logan's kind of a babyface now, maybe. I don't know. And just to fast forward a little bit for the CM Punk Jey Uso versus the Vision match, then of course we didn't all know, but what we didn't see coming was Logan coming in to help save. Again, now we're oh, Logan is full-time babyface, baby. This is it. And maybe this is setting up for War Games. Boom. Still kind of setting up for War Games, I'm assuming. But hits Punk with the brass knucks, knocks him out, and Logan Paul officially joins the Vision by placing the brass knucks into Paul Heyman's hand, which was actually in a cinematic part for the program. It was really good. I thought that was played out very well acting-wise by both of them. Of course, Paul's going to crush it. Well, Paul Heyman. So, Logan Paul, we got the Pauls and the Brons. I mean, you can only have doubles going forward from now on in that faction. Just doubles. You have to bring people on 2 at a time. both the same name. That's how the vision works. That's the vision. That's the vision. Moving on. The Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio rivalry is now revived. We're doing father versus son again. And I think this is finally where I think he got a victory in a tag match against Rey with Liv's help. And I think now this will be the one where finally, like, he beats Rey officially. And I'm gonna say that's like my basics, the basis of how I see it going. Just like Rey putting over Dom, because at this point, if Dom puts over Rey, for what fucking reason? So I genuinely can't think of any other reason unless it's supposed to build to a bigger match down like in a few months from now, where again then it's like hair versus mask or whatever the case is, where they finally get that Mania match where they have talked about where Dom needs to beat Rey one-on-one. So we'll see. But it's funny because it's interesting how programs are not wanted. Like, they did Rey and Dom for so long that so many people didn't want that anymore. Rightfully so. You know, we're like, if you're just not going to let him win, then don't let him win. He ends up beating him with Liv. Then Rey gets injured. Dom gets to move on to other things. So it's almost like a blessing in disguise to like have that happen so that way we can move on to other things. But the second Rey's back, now, because of the way that Dom's character development has happened, now we're more interested. It's kind of goes to show that you can have rematches with people that you've had matches and matches and matches with already, as long as there's character development between them. Like, for example, Brock and John, like, that was just hype because of like the nostalgia and the history, but realistically, they're the same characters they've always been. Brock with a little bit more character development than Cena per se, and that's just because Brock doing literally anything besides just being a beast that doesn't talk is character development compared to Cena. So, it's good to see that now. Like, so now with Rey being what he is at his age and what he's defined himself as, and Dom being the king of the luchadors, double champ, like super over with the crowd, really found himself as a character. Like, yeah, I mean, this is the way, and he needs to beat Rey in a Eddie Guerrero way. Like, that's the only way to win. And before I shout out the women's tag division, I will shout out Becky Lynch for her promo that she cut on top of the desk. Shut up, Joe Tess. Starts with a shut up, Joe Tess, and then goes on to do her. She's going off on Maxine. I'm curious if Maxine's going to be the move. If Maxine is the person that they're going to put the IC title on after Becky, if this is what's about to happen. Because the whole point, and everybody knows this, the whole point of Becky with this title, and it's working, is to get the title elevated. So that way whoever has it next, all eyes on them and what they do. Becky's done that before with the NXT title. She's done that many, many times over. She's really good at it. Like, her and Seth both are like the blueprint to follow for getting a title from like not meaning anything to being the top brand prize. Seth's done it with the World Heavyweight title. Seth's done it with, well, I don't know if he's done it with any other title, I'll be honest with you. If he has, let me know in the comments down below. But I'm pretty sure I know for a fact World Heavyweight title he's gotten over, and then Becky's done it time and time again. She's doing it now with this IC title run. She gets on the mic and she's letting her know, like, Maxine, you're screwed. You're screwed. And letting her know that, you're just a good wrestler, but I'm better than good. I'm the best wrestler. And don't forget, guys, it's not just her saying that. Other people say that too. Sports Illustrated says it. Bleacher Report says that. Okay? One of the most dumbest lines in the business, and it's so funny. It's just as dumb as yeah, but it's great. It's what repetition gets you. It's what sticking to your guns gets you. She said that shit the first few weeks, and we were like, stop saying that. And then she says it every time she's on camera, twice in a night if she can. Anyway, my point is that match between Maxine and Becky for the actual title will be great. And I don't know, you can go either way. If Becky won that, then she'll just keep elevating until they find the right person. Because the real question is Maxine the person to do that? If Maxine is the one to win, which I think she would deserve that title, she's worked extremely hard. Everybody knows, I would say more than on screen, everybody knows Maxine's hard work behind the scenes and how hard she's been training to get better. So I don't know how many people know that in arena, but outside of that, most people know that Maxine's very deserving of this. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Moving on to Tuesday, just a few things I wanted to talk about. The JJTs. Joe Hendry, Javon Evans, Thea Hale. Javon Evans, Ricky Starks, Ricky Saints, and Trick Williams continued program and continued heat. Like I've said before, it seems like every week they find a new way to get heated. This week was no exception. They did the whole camera interview when they were in the same arena because they had to be separated. They went and found each other anyway. Trick Williams gets the best of Ricky on this one. So, yet again, great build between them. So we give that its due respect. Javon Evans continues to be the standout of that entire show to the point when you start getting real curious. Like, if you're going to do this tag team thing with him and Slater, please give them the title. Give this man a title, please, because it's just well deserved and it's what people want to see. And let's see how it works, right? That's one of the things. Throw a title on him, sink or swim, my guy. Right now, he's swimming in like the most deepest waters possible, and he's crushing every time. Let's give him that push. Gets that win over Dark State against who is definitely the standout on Dark State. Sugar. I always forget his actual name, but Sugar, definitely the standout on that team. But Javon Evans gets the win over him, which is the right call. I was worried about that because I'm thinking, man, that guy's really good. He's definitely like the best on their team. Why would they want to put him? Like, why would they want to not have him go over? Thank God they were like, well, Javon's our guy. So that's great. I just want Javon to at least get a title out of all of this. And a few things about the Joe Hendry thing that, like, I mean, as it's happening, you're kind of like, oh, this is why I should be keeping up with AAA and the other things that they're incorporated with, because Ethan Page, Chelsea Green are now the mixed tag team champions, which I didn't know they had in AAA, which is awesome. Chelsea Green and Ethan Page. So that's, I mean, a mixed tag team division is awesome as it is, but the champions being Chelsea and Ethan, come on, it doesn't get any better than that. So I'm tuning into NXT, learning that they're the champions of that, and that they're gonna have this big celebration, and they have this big cake. And first of all, they got to learn to meet the crowd audience, because you could tell something. They're doing a backstage segment, and the crowd's going crazy, not according to the segment. It does not match up with the segment. And then you go into like the actual segment with the celebration, you see the big cake, and you're like, Joe Hendry's in the cake. Joe Hendry was there earlier. He's in the cake. And it's because the crowd's losing their fucking mind. I think you would have figured it out one way or the other, but like the crowd freaking out over the cake probably did not help. But of course, he wasn't in the cake. So that means they were freaking about who was in the cake, which is, now we move on to the shouts out to Thea Hale, who has always been one of my top 5 favorites in NXT. I've been I was happy to know that she at least went to Evolve when pretty much all of Chase U got pretty much nixed. So now that she's back doing this thing with Joe Hendry, it's hilarious. She is the perfect person to tag with Joe Hendry for the mixed tag. But do I see them winning over Chelsea Green and Ethan, 2 of the most over talents on the rosters right now? No, probably not. But it's very happy to see, and it's very entertaining. And having Thea pop out of the cake, Joe Hendry style, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. It's the reason why all of those talents are over, is because, like I said, too many people think that it's got to be all, and I'm going to use her as an example because we're going to talk about her later. Too many people think it's all Jade Cargill. And too many people think that it still have Vince McMahon syndrome. Well, and not even, because Vince fucking liked comedy sometimes, even though it was dumb and not very funny. but still, like, you gotta have these segments that are like fun, lighthearted, using comedy in Ethan and Chelsea, and especially Joe Hendry and Thea's incredible at it too, but especially Ethan and Chelsea are incredible at selling real emotion to the dumb bullshit. You know, getting upset about things that are supposed to be dumb or like not really that like harmful to them or hurtful, and making it seem like it's a really, really big deal. It's all about what you put over, right? Shawn Michaels would say that. Shawn Michaels would say it. First of all, yes, the beanie's off. It was starting to bug me. 2, let's start talking about SmackDown, which was, I'm interested to hear what other reports are going to say. This has been one of the best SmackDowns in a while, and there's so much to unpack here. Let's see what we can get to all together. I want to start by talking about the way that things wrap into each other. So, starting with the singles match between Flair and Nia Jax, right? So, in order to talk about that, we have to talk about how that started, which was me being completely right about Jade's promo when she came out this week. I said on this last episode that when she comes out, she is either going to be confronted by somebody or she won't. But either way, she's going to come out and say some generic ass promo that will not be very long. And it'll be some shit about she's the Storm and she's the strongest and she's coming for everybody back there and yada, yada, yada. And that's exactly what it is. And they said, oh, very little words by the champ, and oh, when you look like that and you got aura like that, you don't have to say much. And I'm like, that's the fucking problem here. Is that no, that is too. Punk came out and cut a whole fucking promo after he won. He cut a huge long promo, taunted his mortal enemy, fucking got into a battle between the Vision, and Jay just came out and said 2 sentences that were so generic and so obvious that I called them last week. So anyway, I've been high on Charlotte for a while now, as said on the last episode as well, and never have I been more high on her, especially being on a champion, than when she came out after Jade was coming to the top of the ramp, which they're doing the tease where they're like, well, no, Charlotte's coming out because she's got a match, but also, what do you guys think? And everybody's like, yes, if there's somebody to dethrone this Jade Cargill, let it be Charlotte. Let it be Charlotte, please. That would be incredible. Charlotte and Alexa running around with the tag titles while Charlotte's got the WWE title? Come on. And if you want to do a breakup story eventually, what better way than to have them eventually going at each other for the women's title? Like, come on. It writes itself, baby. It writes itself. It's all right there. Compared to Jade, where you're like, well, we could wait for Bianca to come back. Which, that's no diss on Bianca. That's the point, is to say that Bianca's the only thing that can make that thing great, because Bianca makes everything great. So, I mean, that's what Bianca did with Jay when Jay first came in. They were like, oh boy, how are we going to make this great? Bianca's like, I'll help her. I will help. So, that leads into the singles match between Nia and Charlotte, which was incredible. I love my favorite part is Nia and Charlotte playing off of their actual in-ring fight that they had years back, where they ended up pushing each other in the face a lot and kind of hitting each other because they got mad at each other in real life in the ring. So they replay that spot, which was awesome. Goes back and forth, a lot of, the match goes on. So then eventually Bliss is going to help for whatever reason, and then out of nowhere from the crowd, it's not the Kabuki Warriors, it's Lash Legend. Lash Legend comes out and puts Bliss in a chokehold. Looks really convincing too, and that's kind of where, like, afterwards, like, she's like, her neck's still hurting her, and it does enough for Nia Jax to get the win over Charlotte, and therefore announcing, again, so much to unpack with everything kind of like flowed into into like all the reveal and all the story substance. So you get that happen, and that's to reveal, where you're thinking, like, are they, they high five as they walk out and they're, arm in arm. So then they reveal, yeah, we're a tag team. It's me and Lash Legend. Nia Jax and Lash Legend are now a tag team, and it's incredible. It works immediately. It's perfect on screen. They're clicking together. They're going to be an absolute force, and that's someone who is extremely believable to be able to hold those tag titles for a minute. And again, I've said it for a long time. You got to learn how to look past things and move past things, and Nia is much better than what people give her credit for, and she is a perfect person to attach to elevate when it comes to being like a tag team partner, comparatively to with her and Tiffy time, where Tiffany was more over than Nia and was in line to be the champion, and that's kind of where that didn't work, compared to Lash Legend, where Lash Legend now has that same opportunity. In their time being a tag team, Lash Legend can elevate and become more over than Nia to a point where people want to see her more than Nia, and that's how it kind of works. So hopefully that's what we can achieve with that. I'm excited for it. What a great way for all that to blend in. But it's not quite over yet, because then there's one more part to this story where Alexa Bliss is backstage getting treated by doctors. Charlotte, as always, with them, they're not friends. So Charlotte's there consoling her, making sure she's okay. And of course, a doctor brings in, and I noticed it immediately. I figured with the zoom in, I was like, something's going on. But then a hand comes in to give her the ice pack. And I'm like, that's a female's hand. I was like, that is a very different hand than the hands that were there. I don't think that's the same doctor. And they get the Dr. Kabuki Warriors. Asuka with the mask pulls it down, spits a mist at Charlotte and Alexa. What a great segment. Now that is fun, and a fun way to keep the rivalry going. The Kabuki Warriors have already been putting beatdowns, they've been getting wins. But what else can you do? Backstage antics, backstage shenanigans. That's how you get them. That's how you get over with the crowd. So all of that made a big circle for all those stories to come together on Friday. It was beautiful. And we'll talk about as well. Well, it's a confusing thing. So Cody starts the show. He's talking about how he's moving on from Drew. He's done with that. And Aleister Black comes out to confront him. To which most people, first of all, it's hilarious how many AEW talent are either champions or at the top of the cards. It's funny. But second of all, it would seem to be that that's going to be Cody's next guy. Like, okay, so this is going to be the next rivalry until Survivor Series, which maybe Drew again, and Drew finally takes the title, but we're really not sure. At this point, I don't think too many people have a very solid idea of what's going to be at Survivor Series for Cody. So Aleister comes out and, he starts challenging him. It's not really getting to Cody too much, but I tell you who will get to Cody. Zelina Vega slapping the shit out of Cody. She slapped the fuck out of Cody. And that's what, immediately Aldis is like, well, okay, all right, everybody, since we can't keep our hands to ourselves, we're going to do a match. So they get a match for that night. And what I thought what this was going to lead up to was more Zelina Vega interference. I thought that maybe, just maybe, since Brandy is almost a year removed from having a kid, that maybe, just maybe, this could set up for a one-time Brandy, Cody mixed tag match. Punk and AJ did it. Why not Cody and Brandy? So I was hoping that maybe, because I thought that would be like an entertaining thing to do leading up to Survivor Series. But, I don't think it's going to happen now, especially now. Because what happens later in the night is Cody and Aleister Black have a great match, but Drew in the all whites comes in and Claymore's the shit. Hearing how from like Charles Robinson and Mike Chioda, how it like the types of selling you do for the moves, and with the Claymore being the creme de la creme of finisher moves, that Rev had to die. He had to die. They should have put him in a casket and taken him out of the building, and he died. Like, he got hit by that Claymore and he was not budging at all. He went completely dead weight. When Drew was grabbing at him and picking him up, he was completely limp-headed. What a good sell. What a good Claymore delivery by Drew. So it's not over between Drew and Cody, of course, which with Drew, everybody knew that. But then the confusing ending, I would say the lackluster ending too, which is all just suspending Drew to a very indifferent crowd pop, because I feel like everybody else was like, wait a minute, but is this the end of the show? Like, is this how we're ending? Yep, it is how we're ending. Drew, you're suspended. My back's against the wall. What are you doing? You're suspended. Nothing I can do. Yeah, my back's against the... That's how it ends. Just them yelling that back and forth at each other. So, I guess Drew still gets a match probably at Survivor Series. Maybe Aleister Black's in it too. I don't. If it becomes a triple threat, then Cody's winning. That's the way I see it. But I think that everybody's on the same page right now, and I've been seeing it from a lot of outlets that at this point, if Drew loses again, what are we doing? What are we really doing? So I think whatever this is, it needs to build to Drew and Cody at Survivor Series. And I would normally be on a like tirade of Cody needs to keep the belt. Cody needs to keep the belt. But Drew's been needing a belt since fucking 40 when he got screwed over for it. Like, he's been, as everybody knows, Drew can make a program and a amazing story out of anything. But we know what the belt means. We know it means more money, more TV time, etc., etc. And Drew can be that guy. Drew should be that guy. They don't have a heel champion. They don't even have one in the women's division because Jade, she's a heel, I guess. Like, I don't buy her heel shit. Like, later in that night, Jade getting all pissy with B-Fab and Meechin, and now Jade's got a match with B-Fab next week for a non-title. It's like, anyway, it's kind of whack. So I think that Drew being a heel champion could be something that spices it up. And we need change. We need big change. Punk being champion's great. It wasn't like a shocking change, especially him going against Jey Uso. Jade Cargill is not the change that we need. Absolutely not. Stephanie Valkyrie is great. She's over there like, I am doing good. You're like, you're doing great. You're doing great, sweetie. Keep doing what you're doing. Everybody else get it together. Cody, and in my opinion, Cody, you're doing great too. Cody's doing great. He's up there like with his vest suit thing. He's like, thanks. But you got to drop the title to Drew. What? No. Yes. You have to drop the title to Drew. And then you guys can keep fighting. Cody, think about it this way. If you drop the title to Drew, you can have like 6 more matches with this guy. Think about it. And last but certainly not least, your longest reigning, because holidays don't count, most beautiful, most dangerous, most youngest, most oldest United States champion is now 2-time United States champion. Chelsea Green beats Julia in a minute 30. I mean, get fucked. It seems to be just the right move. Julia's push was not very good. The booking wasn't very good. And I'm reading online that it's because Julia's apparently going to get pushed into the main event scene. On what fucking grounds? She defended against B-Fab and Meechin, and that's it. No other credible defenses, and the one credible defense she could have had against Chelsea, she lost. So what credits her to go up to like somebody like Nia or Charolette or Jade or Tiffany and be like, hey, I'm better than you and I can beat you? No. I don't think you can. Now, again, it's all building, it's all promoting, it's all the right way you do it. So if you book Julia the right way, if you promote her the right way, then I'm sure it can happen. I don't know that this partnership with their, I think it's something James, I'm not even going to try and butcher it right now, but I think that needs to end in order for Julia to just stand out as like a singles. Her English is fine. She can cut promos fine. It's sure talent's fine. Just book her the right way. I don't know that people on Smackdown, I don't know what they expected when she first came out, but I don't think this is what they wanted. So change of pace with her would be great. But in order to keep that U.S. title at the elevation that it was when Chelsea got it, you got to put it back on her. That's just the right move. I think that's the people think. I've been reading online. That's the thing that people aren't looking at, is that with the title on Zelina Vega, it didn't do as great as everybody wanted it to. And I don't blame Zelina for that. And with it on Julia, again, I don't blame Julia either. I don't think that it all comes down to booking and everything, right? And Julia sold her matches the best she could. She sold her segments the best she could. That's all you can ask for. So I think that it just came down to, how do we get this title to matter again, even if we can't book it all the time? And that's Chelsea. Chelsea will find a way. She's at all the events anyway. She's at all the extra stuff. She's always out doing things for as an ambassador for the company. She's online all the time. She's a great person to promote the title, and she is over the top. So she's going to be an over the top heel babyface, a tweener, if you would, that will keep people interested in those title matches. That being said, though, that's the wrap up for the coverage of this past week. That's what I found most interesting. Let me know in the comments down below what you found most interesting from this past week of wrestling and what you're interested in for this week and the next week of wrestling and the next week and the next week and the next week. We appreciate you as always. Please like, comment, subscribe. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next week for some more Wrestle Talk. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, 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 bye. Oh, who do you think the surprise opponent will be for LA Knight? Let me know. Bye, 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 bye. I have no idea. Bye, 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 bye.